Math 140, back for week number 4 homework. 2 parts to this week's homework, so we're going to have 2 videos. Part 1, we're going to talk about finding a regression line, which really is a topic we're, I would say, halfway towards based on week 3 homework. When you read in this week's instructions, you see it talks about quantitative variables. Like I said, we've already got quantitative variables. Everybody's data set has very good quantitative variables to choose from, so we're in good shape there. I'm talking about creating a scatter plot and a regression line. We already did a scatter plot. That was week 3. So we're really moving in the right direction. The regression line, that's a new topic. I'll get to that shortly in this video. And another thing is, last week's graph, they were good graphs, but to take them to that next level, make sure we get labels clearly. Label the graph, label the axes. I'll make sure we understand how to do that. In order to get those points across, I'm going to, quote-unquote, pick on Jessica here. Her data based on movies, great data set, got qualitative or categorical, and we have lots of quantitative. I'm going to focus on the quantitative, the categorical. We've talked about that before, and that'll probably show up in future videos. But right now, the focus, quantitative variables. In particular, I will just say, hey, let's talk about the days the movie's been in the theater. I'm wondering if maybe the more days that the movie's been in the theater, maybe it's in fewer theaters. Wouldn't that sort of make sense? If it's been in the theaters for a longer time, it's going down, fewer theaters show it. This is a guess. I'm just going to pull that out and see if we can think about that. If a movie's been in the theater longer, it's going to be in a fewer amount of theaters. Let's check it out. How do we check this out? What were we talking about in this homework? Scatter plot. We talked about regression lines. Let's check that out. Let's go to Excel to see this in action. So here is Jessica's data in Excel. I was talking about looking at the days that the movie has been in the theater and relating it to the number of theaters it's actually showing it. These are great numbers to work with. They're not consecutive. Let's make my life easier. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take these numbers, right-click them, and I'm going to copy them. And let me just paste them right over here. So I right-click, and I just paste them right in. Now that the numbers are all together, it'll be a lot easier for me to put them into a graph. It's a little Excel sorting and organization. So these are the numbers I'm focusing on. Hey, do the days that a movie's been in the theater affect the number of theaters it's in? I don't know. Let's check it out. So I highlight everything, and I pull it all the way down to the bottom of the data set. Highlight it, all highlighted. Go up top. I'm going to find Insert, and you see I've got a scatter plot. This should sound familiar because we did this before. Okay, I got my scatter plot. Let me make that a little bit bigger so you can see all these next steps. So I've got my nice scatter plot. One thing I'm going to do, see this where it says theaters? I don't need it. Obviously, we're talking about theaters, right? So I'm just going to click this and delete it, and it just gives me a little bit more room for the actual main event, the scatter plot. Looking at those dots, I mean, I guess they sort of go down, but it's not really a clear relationship. So you might say, sort of there's a relationship, but I'm not really convinced. Either way, I'm looking for a regression line, even if, in this case, I don't really see a super clear relationship. We're going to get a regression line. How do we do that? At least on my version of Excel, if you have, say, a Mac computer or a newer or older version of Excel, you might have to dig around for these, but the general idea is exactly the same. In my graph, once I've highlighted my graph, I'm going to go up here and click Layout, and I can do everything I need to do. First of all, I can do these axis titles like I was talking about. Horizontal. So on the horizontal axis, what do these numbers represent? That is the days that the movie is in the theater. All right, maybe I could have used a couple more words to make that explain that a little more clearly, but I think you understand what I'm doing. Axis titles, vertical axis title, vertical title. The way, see those letters are going up and down. I'm going to take it this way. I'm going to go vertical. I'm going to do this rotated. I think it's a little easier for me to read it sideways. What do I call that? What is that? That is the number of theaters. So I can just go ahead and type that, number of theaters. All right. Axis titles, they're key. The title of the graph is just plain theaters. I think we could be a little more creative, a little more illustrate better what the graph is about. I'll leave that to you to figure out how to do that. But certainly the axis titles are going to be a big key. I'm going to specifically look for that for this week 4 homework. Back to that trend line, the regression line. Using your eyeballs, it kind of goes down, but not strongly. Up here, they have this is in Chart Tools and Layout. They have a line that says Trend Line. So I'm going to click that, and it goes way down. There's lots of different stuff. I'm going to go to More Options, and it should pop. There we go. Here's this nice big box. I do want a linear line, so that line is clicked. Hey, these are all some fancy stuff. We could really get some advanced mathematics. I'm not interested in that just now. Linear trend line, and way down here, display equation. Yeah, I want the equation. I want my mx plus b, if you remember your high school mathematics. So I'm going to hit close, and I've got my y equals mx plus b, and I have the equation on the graph. This is what I'm looking for part 1 of week 4 homework. See if you can't walk through those steps. Use your quantitative data. Use your quantitative data. You should be able to make me a scatter plot, label those axes, give me a regression line, and get me the equation labeled on that. Any questions? Shoot me an email and we can discuss.